The gunshot cracked the dawn before Cole Mercer could swing down from his saddle. It split the quiet street like a warning from the earth itself. Then came a woman's voice, steady and unafraid, cutting through the smoke. She said no, and she meant it. Cole froze in the shadow of the buildings, one boot still hooked in the stirrup, his horse breathing slow beneath him. 3 armed men stood in the muddy street facing the general store. They blocked the light, their coats dark, their hands loose near their guns. The woman stood alone in the doorway. Her shoulders were square, her eyes burned bright and clear. There was no tremble in her hands, no plea in her voice. Just refusal. Cole felt something old and dangerous stir in his chest. Something he had buried deep with other things he no longer named. If he rode on now, he would keep his rule. No stopping. No ties. No trouble. If he stayed, everything would change. He knew that as sure as he knew his own name. He nudged his horse forward anyway. Dry Gulch lay thin and muddy under a pale April sky. The town looked stitched together by stubborn hope and weathered boards. Cole had come for nothing more than a hot meal and a night indoors. He preferred places like this. No questions. No past. His black gelding, Ash, picked his way careful through the street, tired but willing. Cole rode easy, hat low, coat dusted white from days on the trail. He was not looking for trouble. Trouble, as always, found him. The 3 men laughed at the woman's words. One leaned forward, his hand brushing his belt. He sneered about land that was not hers and time she had not earned. She lifted her chin and told him the deed was filed and legal. She told them to leave. Cole watched the way her hands rested on the rifle. Not aimed, just ready. She knew weight and balance. She knew consequences. The bearded man spat in the mud and told her paper would not save her. That was when Cole slid Ash into the open street and spoke. His voice was calm, like creek water over stone. He told them he would not do that if he were them. All eyes turned. The men sized him up, measuring his coat, his horse, the quiet in his stance. The woman did not blink. She stepped down beside him, the rifle lifting just a fraction. She counted the odds and said she was a good shot. Silence pressed in around them. Mud squelched under hooves. At last the men wheeled away, their promises sounding like threats they meant to keep. When they were gone, Cole let out a breath he had not known he was holding. The woman lowered her rifle, and only then did her fingers shake. She thanked him, though she said she had it handled. Cole told her he believed her. The odds had just looked poor. She studied him for a long moment, then offered her hand like a man would. Her name was Anna Reed. She said Pennsylvania lately. Dry Gulch now. His name was Cole Mercer passing through. Her mouth tightened at that. They all were. An old shopkeeper appeared and pointed to a wagon with a shattered axle in the alley. Anna's shoulders sagged. Cole ran a hand along the splintered wood and stood again. He told her she could not fix it alone. She said she would find a way. He should have walked away then. Instead, he heard himself say he could fix it. Anna's eyes held his, hopeful and wary all at once. In that look, Cole felt the road behind him begin to loosen its grip. He worked the broken axle while the morning warmed. The wagon was old, but the bones were honest. With careful bracing and patience, it would roll again. The shopkeeper lent tools and timber. Anna stayed close, handing nails before he asked, holding boards when he needed a third hand. She watched him with quiet focus, the kind that learned instead of flattered. By late afternoon, the brace was set. Cole straightened with a low groan. Anna smiled, relief plain on her face, and told him he would join her for supper. It was not a question. Over bread and stew at the boarding house, she spoke of land 5 miles out, 40 acres. A cabin that needed help. A garden swallowed by weeds. She said it was hers, all she had. Cole listened and saw the commitment in the set of her jaw. When the plates were cleared, they walked under lamplight, music drifting from the saloon, danger lingering just out of sight. That night, Cole lay awake in the tack room, Ash's breathing steady nearby. He told himself he would finish the wagon and ride on. He had told himself that before. Morning came cold, frost jeweled on the grass. Cole tightened the last bolt and rolled the wheel. True. Anna brought coffee, her eyes bright with a decision she had not yet spoken. She said she needed to haul supplies and she needed help. Cole felt his chest tighten. He asked, "How long?" She said, "Long enough." Honest and hopeful. Cole looked toward the road, then back at her. The choice waited between them, quiet and heavy. As the sun climbed and the day asked him who he was going to be, they set out just after sunrise. The wagon creaking but steady, ash tied behind with a loose lead. The prairie opened wide, grass rolling like a quiet sea beneath an enormous sky. Anna drove with capable hands, pointing out landmarks as they went. A lightning-scarred cottonwood, a creek that ran even in dry months, hills that looked close but were not. She spoke of her uncle's letters and how the land had made him feel free. Cole listened and nodded. Freedom meant different things to different people. They crested a low rise and Anna slowed the team. The cabin sat near the creek, cottonwoods offering shelter. From a distance, it looked hopeful. Up close, the truth showed itself. The roof sagged. Shingles were gone. Windows gaped. Fences leaned like tired men. Anna climbed down, gloves tight in her hands. She said it was worse than she remembered. Cole told her it was exactly what it looked like, and that the bones were good. The rest was work. It walked the perimeter, taking stock. 2 weeks would not do it. 6, maybe 8. Anna swallowed and nodded. Then that was how long it took. They unloaded in a quiet rhythm. Inside, the cabin smelled of dust and old smoke. One room to live in, another for storage. Tools and books left by a solitary life. Cole set his bedroll in the small barn and climbed onto the roof at once. Days blurred into steady effort, hammer and saw, lift and set. Anna hauled water, cooked over the hearth, cleared weeds until her hands ached. They spoke when needed and rested when forced. In the evenings, they ate in a silence that did not ask for filling. Cole slept apart as promised. Distance felt easier that way. On the 4th morning, a cry broke the rhythm. Cole climbed down to find Anna staring at her hands raw and blistered. She said she was being ridiculous. He said she was tired and alone. He cleaned her hands with water and whiskey and wrapped them careful. She watched him close, seeing more than he said. She asked why he was doing this. He said it was practical. She smiled, seeing the lie and letting it pass. From then on, she worked beside him on the roof. They talked about loss and roads taken and roads avoided. When she spoke of guilt for arriving too late, Cole told her not to carry what she could not change. She studied him and said he sounded practiced. He did not answer. The roof took shape. Days grew longer. Something between them, unasked and unnamed, began to settle like a promise neither was ready to make. In the evenings, they sat on the porch and watched light fade from the prairie. Anna spoke of city rooms and rules that told a woman what she ought to be. Cole listened and drove nails, letting the wind carry the edges of her words. She said her uncle believed the land only cared who you were when you showed up. Cole nodded. He was not wrong. One afternoon, she asked how long he had been wandering. Long enough, he said. She accepted that, and it unsettled him more than questions would have. Later, she spoke of the winter that took her uncle. Pneumonia and pride. A refusal to leave his land. She wondered if he had died alone. Cole set the hammer down and told her guilt did not bargain. It just collected. She looked at him then and did not press. Hooves sounded at dusk another evening. 3 riders pulled up short. Cole was on his feet before the dust settled. Anna stood beside him with the rifle ready. The bearded man tipped his hat and spoke of trespass and winter accidents. Cole felt the old calm settle in, the one that lived just before violence. He told them she was not alone. Anna fired a warning shot into the dirt between the led horse's hooves. Chaos broke their line. She told them to leave. They did. When the sound faded, Anna's hand shook. Cole took the rifle and pulled her close without thinking. She leaned in, breath hitching. She said she would not be bullied. He said he knew. She searched his face and said he was leaving soon. The words landed hard. He said maybe. They stood there as the danger ebbed and the quiet rushed back in. Cole stepped away first, as if distance could restore order. That night they worked by lamplight, careful and quiet. When the fire burned low, Anna poured tea and sat beside him on a bench he had built. Their shoulders touched. It felt heavier than any promise. She said she had lost everyone and had thought hard work would make it mean something. He said it did. She asked about him. He stared into the fire and told her about a wife and a little girl taken by raiders while he was gone. He told her he had buried them and ridden away. She reached for his hand slow, giving him time to pull back. He did not. Days passed. Windows went in, the chimney drew clean, a door hung straight, hands brushed, looks lingered. On a cool evening, as the sky went violet, Anna stood close enough that Cole could feel her warmth. He said it was a mistake even as he leaned in. She said, some were worth making. The kiss was careful, then urgent. Fear and hope tangled together. When they broke apart, breathless, he admitted he did not know how to do this. She said they would learn. No forever, just now. 2 days later, hooves came again. One man this time. A marshal asked for Cole by name. The past had finally caught up. The marshal spoke of a gang Cole had once ridden with and a robbery planned for Dry Gulch. He offered a choice: help stop it and walk free, or face the past in irons. Anna listened without interrupting, her hand tight around Cole's. When the marshal rode off, the prairie felt smaller. Cole said he would not run. Anna asked to come with him. He said no. It was too dangerous. She asked him to promise he would come back. He did. He rode away. 2 hours later, the cabin shrinking behind him, Anna standing in the doorway. Brave and still the mining camp sat low and mean against the hills, smelling of smoke and old whiskey. Men watched from shadows as Cole rode in, head down, shoulders loose. Frank Braxton stepped forward, older now, beard gone gray, eyes sharp with memory. He said he thought Cole was dead. Cole said not yet. He told a practiced story of drifting and hunger. Frank listened and smiled the way men do when they think they own a piece of you. By nightfall, Cole was back among them. Plans came in pieces. 6 men. Noon. Dry Gulch bank, fast and loud. Cole listened and remembered faces. Habits, the way Frank liked to stand just out of reach. His stomach turned, but he kept his voice steady. On Thursday evening, he rode out to scout and found the marshal's men waiting by the creek. The marshal told him to let them commit. Then they would take them. Cole asked about Frank. The marshal said to make sure he did not leave. Friday came hot and bright. Dry Gulch looked ordinary. Children ran. A woman crossed the street with a basket. Inside the bank, fear bloomed fast. Frank barked orders. Glass shattered. Guns roared. Cole moved when it mattered, shoving people toward the back, shouting over the noise. Frank turned on him, rage burning. Shots rang. Men fell. Frank dragged himself toward a gun. Cole fired. Silence followed, broken by crying and the sound of his own breath. The marshal arrived steady and grim. He told Cole he had done good. Cole did not feel good. He rode out of town and washed blood from his hands in the creek until the shaking stopped. He sat there a long time, watching clouds move, thinking of Anna. At sunset, he rode back. She was waiting. She ran to him, arms tight, tears hot against his neck. He told her he was here. Inside the cabin, he told her everything. She listened and believed him when he said the civilians lived. She said he had chosen life. Papers came the next morning. A pardon, reward money, a clean page. Anna looked at him with hope and fear balanced. He took her hands and said he wanted to stay if she would have him. She said yes. They worked harder after that, not because they had to, but because they wanted to. Cole added shelves for Anna's books and a bench by the creek where the water bent slow. Anna answered with warm meals, mended seams, flowers in a jar. A cattleman rode out one evening and said the land was hers. His words stood. Anna laughed, bright and unbelieving. Cole felt another knot loosen. On a quiet night by the fire, Anna told Cole she was with child. Fear came first, then wonder. He pulled her close and said he was scared. She said so was she, and that they would be brave. Winter came hard, but they were ready. Cole carved a cradle by lamplight. Anna stitched small clothes with careful hands. Spring broke through at last. On a clear morning, their daughter cried strong. They named her Grace. Years passed. The homestead grew. More children followed. Laughter filled the yard. Cole taught them to build and ride. Anna taught them to read and stand firm. Sometimes at sunset, Cole stood by the fence and remembered the man who rode into Dry Gulch with rules for staying alone. He was grateful to him, and grateful he had stayed. The ranch took on a name. Fences stretched farther. Calves bawled in spring. Cole took work in town when it fit. People trusted his hands and his word. Anna's garden became a map of patience. She taught the children to listen to the land. Grace grew steady and sure. The boys raced the creek and learned to apologize. Trouble came now and then, as it always does. Cole did not chase it. He stood when standing mattered. Neighbors leaned on one another. When a roof collapsed after snow, Cole and the boys rode out with tools. Anna sent stew. No speeches. Just hands and time. One evening, Anna asked if he missed the road. Cole said he remembered it. That was different. Stars came out one by one. The house breathed. The future no longer felt like a threat. It felt like work worth doing. As Cole aged, he noticed the quiet more. Not empty, full, children sleeping. Animals settled, the land breathing easy. One night, Anna handed him her journal and asked him to read the last page. It told of a man who stopped running and a woman who never bowed. Of a life built by choice. Cole closed the book and held it close. At dusk, he sometimes looked toward the road beyond the fence. Then he turned back to the light in the window. He had found what he did not know he was searching for. Not safety without risk. Not peace without pain. A home held by purpose and love. Cole Mercer stayed.